All right, what's going on, Bulls Nation? So, welcome back again for another video. So, today we are going to talk about the Bulls ceiling for this upcoming season. Where do I think their peak? And we'll talk all about that right after this.
Get the lowdown on one of the most iconic basketball teams in the world. You're listening to Chicago Bulls Nation.
All right, Bulls Nation. So, I, I've been sitting down and watching this off-season unfold, and I know we didn't do much transaction-wise, right? And it's not like we could, even if we wanted to. We don't have enough assets to go to swing big, and plus we did that last year. You can't do that every year. You can't buy a new car every year, otherwise you won't own a car. So uh, I'm okay with what the Bulls have done. And a lot of people are putting us where we ended up last year, which is maybe fifth, sixth seed. And I get that, we are prisoner of the moment. That's where we finished. And a lot of people are saying we got exposed. We're not really as good as we were in the beginning of the season. And those are all fair assessment. We're assessing the Bulls. We do have deficiencies. You can even say we don't have a true, I guess, generational talent on the team. And if you look at every championship team in the past 20 years, with the exception of the Detroit Pistons, everyone pretty much has a generational talent, including the 2011 Mavs, which they do have Dirk. You look at this Bulls team and you can't really point that out. And it's fair to say to put them in fifth, sixth seed, and again, that is understandable. That is the most, I would say, realistic take on the Bulls. Is maybe our ceiling is a fourth seed, perhaps, because I almost put us on the fourth seed last year as well. Well, that's good. That is the most realistic take, and I understand that. That is not absurd. But I also think we are forgetting how good we played in the beginning of the year when we are all healthy. Is that going to happen? Are we going to be all healthy? Now, with all intents and purposes, I think Levine is pretty good now with his knee. There's some question marks with Lonzo Ball, but I believe that he'll be fine come, season. Or maybe he will miss, first half of the season. Maybe that's why we got Goran Dragic. Maybe not first half, but maybe, maybe November. Maybe he'll start in December or so. And Goran is a good insurance policy. And even with Lonzo fully healthy, I still like the signing because he is a different type of guard. He is, the slow down kind of, point guard. He can shoot from the outside. And he brings a different element than what Caruso plays the point sometimes, and what Ayo would bring to the table. With that being said, we didn't get a defender like Rudy Gobert. Well, we didn't have a defender like Rudy Gobert early on the season, yet we are the top 5 or top 10 in the defensive efficiency because of how just hounding our defense was from the perimeter. And with the I guess with Patrick Williams, which we never really saw, and Ayo, I'm assuming Ayo would take a leap, maybe not a big leap. I'm not expecting him to be like Tyrese Maxey all of a sudden, but to dismiss that he's gonna get better, I think is false. And Ayo was pretty good in defense. So by not getting anyone, by just getting Patrick Williams back and Lonzo and a healthy Caruso, those are moves that we never had last year. And it's easy to count us out. But when those guys are in, and I know there's a lot of if in here, but that's what the Bulls were facing. A lot of ifs. If you give up early on these guys, this unit, then you're starting all over again. I think that's the dilemma that we do have here. As far as the ceiling, and we are going to assume, because outside of a barring major injury, which we haven't heard, by major, I mean like an ACL tear, and knock on wood, I don't wish that on anybody. But a little ding here and there. That's you can expect that throughout an 82 game season. But and I know there's a lot of but there's a lot of ifs in every team. But we've shown potential. We've shown brilliance on the court. We even beat Boston Celtics, and the Celtics didn't click towards the end because they don't have they weren't just cohesive in the beginning of the season, and we were their opposite. We were cohesive right off the bat, and then injuries did happen. So that's why I feel like it's very hard to assess this Bulls team. And if everyone is healthy and we still end up in 5th, 6th seed, that is, I believe, where changes are going to be made. But the way I look at the roster right now and the landscape of the East, a lot of people are saying, hey, everyone got a lot better than but the Bulls didn't. I mean, Miami didn't get any better, in my opinion. Milwaukee's always going to be our Achilles heel. And yes, they did get better. I don't know how much better, but they did get better. But even without that, I think they did that now for the Bulls to, combat maybe the West or so. But whenever you have Giannis, I mean, that by itself, you already have an issue, not the acquisition that they made. Philadelphia is another team that I would say just doesn't match up very well with us. However, we got Drummond now because, we have Embiid is a different player than Giannis. Giannis is more agile and more from the outside than back to the basket like Embiid is. Not that Embiid can't go outside, but he's a bigger guy. But that's the only thing that I would say that the Bulls didn't made a constant effort in is to get a 4. Because Giannis is technically like a 4 and 5, but he moves like a 4, but size of a 5 nowadays at least. But the season is not over. We can still make those changes. And as far as our ceiling, I still think we can end up like third seed or so with those two teams ahead of us, which is the Sixers and Milwaukee, and maybe even 4th if you count in Boston. But with Boston, I don't know, with all these trade rumors, I think that's going to affect the dynamics of the team. I don't think there's going to be a trade to Durant. If there is, then, you got to put Boston ahead of us, obviously. Even now, you got to put Boston ahead of us. But what I'm saying here is we have the potential to match or if not be better than those teams. Maybe it's the homer in me talking here, but I've seen the highs of the Chicago Bulls, and I liked it. Well, I've also seen the lows, and we can't beat any good team. But if you just hang on to the idea that as a unit, because there's not one single player on this team that you can look at and like, hey, he's going to take us home. As good as Zach is or DeMar is, they're not those generational talent. But I think as constructed as a team, we are cohesive enough and good enough to win enough games and even advance. And I firmly believe that, if we are fully healthy, we are as good as any team in the league. We might not stop all the superstars out there like the Giannis, but when we are clicking, we are also hard to stop, in my opinion. So let me know in the comments, am I just delusional here? Or am I putting too much faith in the Chicago Bulls? And rightfully so. You can call me a fool for thinking that way, but you also got to see it in a perspective where we've seen their highs, and they're pretty good. They are darn good. We were number one seed in the East till February. That's almost half of the season till everything just went down. And we all know in the playoffs, like I said, we don't have that guy. So we need everyone healthy. And I think to an extent, I don't think there's going to be a season where Patrick Williams is gone and Caruso and Lonzo, and Zach dealing with knee issues. That's a one-off in my opinion. So let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. And I'll see you guys in the next video.